If you want a fourth Captain America movie with unlikable characters, bad CGI, a script that reads like a sequel to 2008's The Incredible Hulk and 2021's The Eternals, and a plot that definitely could have just been an email, well then Captain America Brave New World is just the movie for you. Hi y'all, SnarkyJay cosplay here. As of the time of this video's recording, it's been just a few days since the release of Captain America Brave New World, the fourth film in Marvel's Captain America franchise. From constant reshoots, disastrous test screenings, recutting of the film, and recent comments from the star Anthony Mackie, it's been an absolute nightmare of a road to release just a few days ago on Valentine's Day. And I can tell you right now that my viewing experience with this film, I would say it was short of a love story, but it's actually about as disastrous as my love life actually is. While I wouldn't say that Captain America Brave New World is the worst the MCU has had to offer recently, I will say that pretty much any Captain America movie is way more worth your time to watch than Captain America Brave New World. Before we get started on my review, I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys my rating. Captain America Brave New World gets a 4 out of 10 from me, so let's just get right into it. This movie, at its surface, kind of feels like a political love letter to the drama that's been going on in the United States as of the past few years. Believe it or not, I don't look to Marvel content to be reminded of the current political climate we live in today, nor do I turn to Marvel superhero content to preach at me, which is probably one of the reasons why Falcon and Winter Soldier, the series, failed so hard to resonate with me and a lot of other people. But I will say that while that feeling does linger throughout the movie, admittedly, Captain America Brave New World does not get political enough, in my opinion, to get annoying. But it fails so hard in so many other ways. For one, I feel the plot is kind of shit, and I want to get a little more into that in a few minutes, but for me, I feel like this film is constantly grasping at straws to find ways to make itself interesting. Its attempts to make its villains and its heroes interesting and compelling are ham-fisted and unsuccessful, and to be quite frank, I'm really not buying any of what they're selling. And I will say that I think one of the weakest things about this film is that not only does it try to justify and tie back into the MCU the events of 2021's The Eternals, the real crime is that this kind of feels like it's meant to be a sequel to 2008's The Incredible Hulk. And I'm not saying that that's a bad movie, but it was 2008. That's also not the Bruce Banner that we got here. It just makes it incredibly confusing, weird. I don't think anybody remembers that movie all that well, so to have it rely so heavily on lore established like 16 years ago really gives a weak point to this film. And I mean, again, we're supposed to remember references to the Eternals. Did you give a shit about the Eternals? Did anybody give a shit about the Eternals? One shit. One single shit. One singular, not even a whole shit, like a nugget. A nugget. Did anybody give a shit nugget about that? Anyway, you know what? Let's just continue. On another note, the fight sequences and CGI in this film are disastrous in such a disappointing way. I want Marvel to get their shit together because they've had it together before, and we're in a climate where CGI and fight choreography are going downhill. There are fight sequences in this movie that feel like direct, not references, but direct copies, imitations of fight sequences established in previous Captain America movies. There is literally a fight between Sam Wilson and an elite operative where Sam Wilson removes his helmet before the fight, which looks an awful lot like.
Je croyais que tu étais plus qu'un bouclier. On va voir.
There's also a sequence where a helicopter is yanked out and the rotors snap off, which looks an awful lot like. There's also a shootout sequence that looks exactly like this battle right after the Causeway fight in Winter Soldier. You know when you have leftovers at, like, I don't know, Chili's, right? And so you throw your leftovers in your little styrofoam or plastic container. I don't know what we're using these days, save the sea turtles. You throw your leftovers in the little plastic container, but there's like 12 French fries there, right? And everybody loves French fries. So of course you're not gonna leave the french fries there. So you throw the french fries in there and you're like, I'll reheat it all later. And sure, maybe the chicken sandwich you brought home with you heats up fine, but those fries, they come out of the microwave, and yeah, they look sort of like the fries you had served to you, but they're somehow soggy and stiff and dry at the same time. Weird combo, but you know how fries are. They're soggy, they're stiff, they're stale, they don't taste the same anymore. Yeah, that's kind of what this movie feels like. It feels like the reheated fries of previous Captain America movies. Nobody likes reheated fries. Just make a new fry. Give me a garlic mashed potato. Do something else with Captain America. Stop reheating the other Cap's fries. I kind of really want french fries now. That was not a smart reference to make. Anyways, besides the whole can I copy your homework thing, I will also add that I think the fight sequences just look sluggish in general. The CGI though, holy the visuals in this movie are so rough. I think one of my big pet peeves with Marvel these days is that when you have a suit of armor, vibranium wings, a helmet made in Wakanda, they now result to explaining everything away with nanotech. Everything just sort of disintegrates and just materializes in front of you in a weird way. And the problem with that is that it has a tendency to look fuzzy and just poorly animated, and a lot of this movie, I can tell you, looks just like that. Sam spends so much time in the air where you can see the CGI is actively not well done, probably because of all the recuts they had to do, re-editing, all that shit. That's obviously gonna affect the quality of a film, but it is actively distracting to the point where the camera work now spends like 60% of the time spinning you around or shaking you or becoming actively disorienting to try and distract you from how shitty the CGI is. And God, there was actually so much that went right with Red Hulk, but what went so wrong? The CGI. My God, I'm telling you, the CGI gets worse with every f***ing Marvel movie. And it's hard. I mean, it's a giant, you know, red guy, and it's gotta look like Harrison Ford, so I can understand and appreciate the challenge here, but I feel we nailed Hulk, like, before, so why is this one so actively terrible looking? I felt like there were split seconds when I was watching where he almost looked like they didn't even finish rendering him. Maybe that was just my eyes, maybe I need new contact lenses, but it looked weird. And besides all of that, I feel like the biggest thing working against this movie is that it's not the movie that it needs to be. We've talked about this already, right? I think Sam Wilson has great potential to be a fascinating Captain America. He's got some great comics and great stories out there. But the problem is that Marvel decided not to pull from any of those. This was Sam Wilson's first movie as Captain America. If that's what you're gonna do, it needs to be great, it needs to hit hard, especially because it's coming, what, like 3, 4, maybe 5 years after Falcon and Winter Soldier? And instead of giving you a heavy hitter, a real Captain America movie where they let Sam Wilson be Captain America, they instead tied his whole thing so closely to 2008 Hulk bullshit. Every villain is a Hulk villain. I mean, Captain America feels like a side character. It honestly feels like we spend the entire time watching Sam Wilson and unnamed buddy number 3, I mean Joaquin Torres. Not memorable at all. He could have just been anybody. I felt that Sam and Bucky had great buddy cop energy that they really didn't capitalize on enough, but somehow Joaquin and Sam don't get along in the way that I think is entertaining. It honestly just feels like a commercialized buddy cop thing, and it doesn't really hit the way it should. It could have been good, but they decided to make it like a Hulk villain movie, and so it just doesn't work. This entire movie could have been 3 sentences of prologue before the next Avengers movie, and you would have been good. We didn't need 2 hours of this. Let's go over the few good things that I can really point out with this movie. It doesn't get preachy enough at all to be annoying, so if you're still thinking about this,
you've got to do better, Senator.
From Falcon and Winter Soldier, you're not gonna have to deal with that here. Admittedly, while there are some stupid instances of Marvel humor, there really isn't as much as I thought there was gonna be, which is kind of weird because they literally put a dumb one-liner in one of the ads and turned me off to the film before I even watched it. But admittedly, you can tell that they were trying to lean into the more gravitas-driven style of the Winter Soldier, so they really didn't put too much humor-wise in here. And my surprising highlight for this is that for as much of a diva as they reported him being on set, as little faith as I had in his performance, being that he's in his 80s and seems to be phoning a lot of shit, in. Harrison Ford could basically be credited with carrying this entire movie. He delivers a performance that is so intense, so much more nuanced, and so much better than this movie deserves. They said they had a hard time dealing with him because he's got like some kind of shoulder injury, so to have him doing mocap to be the Hulk was difficult. I really think that what was going on is Harrison Ford was dealing with a backache from carrying this piece of shit movie, because my god, he was actually so good. Now I kind of want to get into a little more nitpicky shit, very spoiler specific stuff. So if you don't want to have this movie spoiled for you any more than it probably already has been, move on. Again, spoiler warning, spoiler warning, spoiler warning. This is your last chance. Spoiler warning. Here we go. Again, I just want to reiterate all the references to the 2008 Hulk movie. Why? They did that in She-Hulk because they had to, because it was a Hulk story. What the f was the point of bringing in the leader, Mr. Blue, Sam Stearns, from the, like, why? Why? Who was out there going, you know what Captain America really needs after we switch? What we need is a story that's not Captain America at all. We just need to go all in on Hulk stuff. Just go all in. I don't understand. I really don't. Also, besides like the Hulk surprises, the plot, again, is just another president overreaching, government bad, and I mean, I'm not saying that all of these things couldn't be true and don't make sense, but it also just feels like I think I've seen this movie before. We're bringing up the Sokovia Accords. Like, all of these things just feel like we're seeing bits and pieces of other films rewritten and just combined. Giancarlo Esposito, he was so obviously like a last minute, holy f, this movie's going to hell in a handbasket, throw him in there. He feels so underutilized. Giancarlo Esposito to me is one of those actors that actively steals scenes that he's in. He's really captivating. There's something about him. I think he's great. And yet the script that he is given is so lackluster, so in the spirit of like film student working on their first villain, that he's not intimidating, he's boring. His character just becomes completely forgettable because, like almost everybody else in this film, he is given a garbage script. They spend the entire time having Sam doubt himself about not having taken the serum, and then somebody's always gonna come in and be like, no, because you're you don't need the serum. Isaiah Bradley's old ass outruns him because he has the serum. Sam spends the entire movie getting his ass kicked and trying to chase the plot. Somebody give this guy the serum, and then we'll buy it, because he's struggling as it is. Which, I mean, is why we can't really buy into these things logically and debate them seriously, right? Because they can go like, oh man, no, but you would like definitely need the serum to throw this shield because look how heavy it is. And then when it's convenient for them, they're like, hey, I know that guy has the super soldier serum, but we're gonna give it to this other guy and he's not gonna take the serum, and somehow he's gonna figure out how to throw it just fine and his shoulders are gonna remain intact. We do get a cameo from Bucky, who after all this time is looking finer than a new set of snow tires. Sebastian Stan, the man that you are! Anyways, he appears to console Sam, who is feeling less than and debating taking the serum and feeling bad, because this is a constant thing. And we come to find out that he's a future congressman, so everybody that was like, Bucky can't be Captain America because he killed people. Okay, well the motherfucker is getting voted into Congress, so I don't think people are that pissed off about it, are they? Alright, I said I was going to talk about Red Hulk. We have spent the entire time watching Hulk get pushed to the sidelines. Mark Ruffalo has really not been all that great a Bruce Banner. Maybe they've just been giving him shitty scripts, right? But he's disappeared, he's been to space, he's been emasculated by his cousin. This f***ing Hulk, Harrison Ford's old ass, terrible CGI Hulk, was doing the Hulk clapping, he was smashing, he was leaping, like, it feels super childish to say, but this was peak Hulk shit. Like, this was superhero childish insanity. What the f is a smart Hulk? Professor Hulk. Emasculated by his cousin Hulk. None of that. Except, you know, that the whole thing gets resolved really easily by Sam Wilson just giving him a gentle talking to and reminding him about flowers, and then he transformed back into a shirtless 80-something-year-old Harrison Ford. I honestly thought that I was gonna see Sam walk over and pull the sun's getting real low, big guy. Like, I don't know what I expected. I mean, granted, I'm glad that we didn't have to see that happen, but why? Look, could this movie have been worse? Yeah. Could have been Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, or like anything else Marvel has put out. It could have been worse. But the sad part is that it could have been a lot better. I don't take pleasure in thinking that this movie sucked. I had to sit through it for 2 hours. In fact, it was a little less than 2 hours, and I felt like it might as well have been 3. I didn't want to watch this shit. I wanted this movie to be better. I love to be proven wrong. But unfortunately, this movie just wasn't that. A 4 out of 10 is the best I can give it. It's what I think it deserves. I wish it could be better. I hope they give Sam Wilson's Cap some better shit moving forward. I'd like to get back to being excited about Captain America content and Marvel content in general if they would just stop making garbage or stop making whatever the f this was. Captain America Brave New World gets from me a 4 out of 10, and I hope I never have to sit through this again. And that's all for me. I've been SnarkyJay. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. For more SnarkyJay, be sure to check me out on Instagram, and if you'd like to support me, this channel, and my content creation, do check out and consider subscribing to my Patreon for exclusive photo shoot sets and cosplay content. I'll add links to all of those in the description below. And let me know your thoughts on Captain America Brave New World in the comments below.